sordid affair began in a blackout. The clouds parted, the sun found me in those vanished hours. Still in the game, I'm a tearaway ricochet. Wake up in dreamland, do it the right
Hi everyone,
way.
and welcome to Up to Your Ears. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Josie. How's it going, Vanessa? How's it going, everyone?
I'm doing great. I am so excited today about our guest. Grew up with her music, think that she is a badass bassist and guitarist, great lyricist, and all around pretty cool chick. Who do we have today, Josie?
The one and only Kathy Valentine. She is an author, a songwriter, musician, mom. She is a superhero and happens to be a member of the all-time biggest all-girl rock and roll band ever, the Go-Go's. And she also is in a band here in Austin, Texas called the Bluebonnets. I'm so excited to talk to her. She's been super slammed with her new book that is called
All I Ever Wanted.
School was in session, and it was the best education I could ask for.
And it is a page turner, guys. Check it out. It is just, whoa. It's so crazy how good this book is. And she is so brave. She puts it all out there. You're reading it and you're like, right, Vanessa? You're like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
I think I read it in like 5 days. And she is here.
She is. Okay, wonderful. Let's
let her in and meet the fabulous Kathy Valentine.
Well, Kathy, we have a quick questionnaire for you, and then afterwards we want to just find out what you have going on in the future.
Okay.
But before we get started with the questionnaire, I have to say, and I said in the email that Vanessa and I are both super huge fans of your book. Congratulations. I love it so much. I have it here. We were promoting it earlier. I love it so much. And
yeah, I mean, I felt confident that I was a good writer, and I wanted to open the door to being accepted and known as a writer. I wanted to add to my career resume. As you know, I feel like I'm much more than the person that played bass in the Go-Go's in the 1980s on some hit songs, and I'm really proud of that. And God, it's given me an amazing life, but it's hardly the sum of what I am and what my capabilities and what I do. And so I wanted to be known as a writer, and I thought this is the best way to start, to open the door, because if I just came out with a novel, it might be like, oh, the bass player from the Go-Go's wrote a book, and there may or may not be interest in that. But I think writing a memoir that has been well received does open the door, and I think a lot more people would say like, "Oh, I liked her book," or "I liked her writing." This might, you know what I mean?
It was very compelling, and I could tell that you truly were a writer. It made a lot more sense as I was reading it, and the songs that you had written. It was like, oh, she really wanted to be a songwriter in that group. But you were so adaptable. Until I read that, I had no idea that you weren't always a bass player.
Oh, yeah.
okay, Vanessa, would you like to start this questionnaire we have for Kathy Valentine?
Yes, it's super short. And it's called Truth or Protect Your Rep. So you can tell the truth if you want to, or you can protect your rep. But they're just silly questions because we know that you've been asked every question under the sun 1,000 times.
I love it.
So the first one is for me. What was your favorite show growing up?
Television show?
Mm-hmm.
I guess
was it cartoons, or did you have like a sitcom that you loved? Or
I think I loved It Takes a Thief.
Mm.
with David McCallum and I forgot the other guy's name. Oh my God, I forgot his name. And I loved that and like Get Smart and just like the sitcoms of the 70s that I grew up with. Those are my favorite shows.
Okay, I
like
love
you.
that. Okay, next question for you, Kathy. You're going to a party, it's a potluck. What is your signature dish? What are you bringing to the party?
I would probably stop at Whole Foods and bring something from there. I don't have a signature
Yeah.
dish.
All right, Vanessa,
See,
your
you could have
turn.
said, I'm really known for my cheese balls.
I could have, but I'm protecting my rep.
Okay, next question for me. If you could be a wild animal, what would it be and why?
Um, I would probably be an armadillo
Ooh,
because I have a really uh, thick shell, but I'm not invincible. Like you see, they're like these little prehistoric things, just kind of slowly going about their business. I feel like that's me. I feel like I'm always slowly going about my business and with this shell around me, but I certainly could get, we see them on the road dead all the time. So I I don't mean dead, but just
He's a
symbolically
survivor.
or figuratively, having a shell doesn't necessarily mean that you're not vulnerable. That's what I mean.
Also gives you the ability to come out of your shell if you want to.
That's true.
okay, next question for you, Kathy. You've met so many people, but who in your career have you been most excited to meet, musician or otherwise? Someone that just sort of wowed you.
Keith Richard,
He just seems like he would be so fun and jovial. Is he?
he seemed he was not a disappointment in any way. And my book ends in 1990, but I had a couple of other opportunities to meet him after in the 90s. And
Uh-huh.
each encounter, I mean, I don't think if he saw me, he would run up and say, "Hey, Kath, how are you?" But if I reminded him who I was, he would remember. So it was enough encounters that like I was in his consciousness for a moment. And each time I've met him, he was just wonderful, just not a disappointment in any way.
That's awesome. Probably, and also he probably remembers you because you said that you would give him that, was it
Mhm.
56 Les Paul or something? Like if you died or what, I don't know what
I'm
kind of
holding
guitar
it
it
to it.
It's a
was.
62 Strat.
62 Strat. There you go.
Um, phone at the table, yes or no?
Oh, phone at the table? Absolutely not.
Good answer.
Yay.
No
Yeah.
way. No way.
Okay, next question for me. Kathy, what is the strangest venue you've ever played? Your strangest show?
Been a lot of them.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say in Germany with I had a band called the Delphines, and we played an entire tour where nobody came to any of the venues. None. No, nobody.
What?
Yeah, I had a band with
Were you,
Dominique called the Delphines, and we did an entire where literally like nobody was there ever. And it was
Still good
ironically
practice time.
well, it was actually
yeah.
actually one of the best times I've ever had as a musician. So I love that story because when I look back at the times I had them, it was just really fun. We laughed so much. It was just got to be
And
so
I mean,
absurd.
Dominique plays with you in the Blue Bonnets, and you guys together play so well, and you're both such shredders and just so amazing. And the chemistry between you guys is so awesome. I can't imagine you guys being on tour together and not a person showing up to these shows. Like that blows my
Crazy.
mind. It
And in
is
that band,
crazy.
Gina from the Go-Go's was playing drums. So we were a trio. It was Gina, me, and Dominique in a van driving all over Germany with nobody showing up. And it was just so funny. I mean,
I blame Germany.
Vanessa, you have one more question, don't you?
Yep, last one for me. Sunrise walk or moonlight stroll? Which do you prefer?
well, I would rather do sunset, but if I had to choose between the two options, I would probably pick um, moonlight. I stay up. I'm a night owl. I don't see too many sunrises.
That's yeah, I kind of am too. I like the idea of being up early, but it just hardly ever happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to. I'd like to flip it, but it's hard to flip it.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause
And
what I
yeah,
like is the quiet and not being bothered, which is probably the same at sunrise as it is at 2 in the morning.
right, exactly. Kathy, my last question for you is, what do you have next? You just finished this book. Is there another book in the works? Do you have plans for the Blue Bonnets? Tell us what's happening with you and your future.
Well, I have a lot going on. I went back to school in the fall, and I'll be back at St. Ed's in the springtime and graduating, getting my first college degree.
Oh,
I'm
congratulations.
applying,
Uh,
thank you.
Yay.
I'm applying for grad school for a MFA program because I want to continue writing and I want to be a better writer. And I think that would be, I could just write on my own, but I like to, since I'm going more into fiction, I'd like to get more, I don't know, practice, I guess, in a setting where I get a lot of feedback. So it seems like a good thing to do. So I'm applying to some MFA writing graduate school programs. And I just found out that All I Ever Wanted is being released as a paperback, which is huge.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, it
Yeah.
means that in the fall I can do a book tour. I was canceled in the last summer because of the pandemic, but
Yeah.
I think because of the pandemic, bookstores might be open to hosting me, even though it's not a brand new book. It'll be new on their shelves as a paperback. So I'm hoping to do a book tour. I did a soundtrack to my book and was I'm really proud of the soundtrack and always meant to incorporate songs with my bookstore appearances. And I've had a chance to do quite a few during the pandemic, like virtual and even a couple socially distanced ones. And they go really well. People really like them. And it's a combination of talking, Q&A, discussion, and songs. Some of the songs that I'm known for, and some from the book soundtrack. I will probably do another writing like collection with, I'm really interested in that intersection of storytelling with songs and with music and prose because I can do both. So the soundtrack to All I've Ever Wanted is one of the best musical things I've ever made, one of the most creative, interesting music. And I played everything and produced it all and recorded it all. So I want to continue
Awesome.
doing that more.
And where can everyone find the soundtrack to
It's
the book?
part of the audiobook. If you get the audiobook, it comes with it. And you can also get it, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, Bandcamp, which is my preferred thing. So yeah, you can get it separate, but each each track corresponds with a chapter, and it really kind of it's a musical accompaniment. I mean, I really strove to capture the content, the tone, the feeling um, of the chapter. So it's really cool. And I
That's
would love,
so awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
and
Okay.
it was really fun because, you know, I could do any style of music. It didn't have to sound like the Go-Go's. It didn't have to sound like the Bluebonnets. It didn't even have to sound like a traditionally structured song. I really looked at it as a soundtrack. So I could do, you know, I could just do cool beats with like, you know, a bass riff or guitar licks and spoken word stuff. I never took anything, I didn't like read out of the book, but I did take passages and kind of rework them in a more lyrical way or rhythmic way or like key lines. You know, sometimes some chapters just had a key line that just
Mm-hmm.
really stood out to me. And so it was just each one, I had no idea what I was going to do, but they all fit. They all fit the chapter that they correspond with.
That's
Love
so
that idea. Who narrated the book for you on the audio book, or did you read it?
I did it.
That's awesome.
Is it something that takes like months to do because you retake stuff like you do in the studio, or is it just you just powered through?
No, it took me 2.5 days. I had a producer listening on Skype. She's really experienced and good, and so every now and then she would stop me and say, "Do that again," or she'd say, you know, "Slow the pacing down," or you know. So she gave me some direction.
That's so cool.
And
Wow.
I did it here in Austin, and you know, there was a guy in the control room recording me, and I'm just in a booth, like if I was singing vocals, and then on Skype was the producer from New York, from the
Wow.
audiobook company. It was
How
cool.
surreal. Yeah,
That's
you've
so
been
cool.
through so many crazy experiences. I'm going to say it, but and intense experiences, and you just put it out there. I don't know a lot of people who have the courage, or even if they were a writer and they had a story to tell, that they would be brave enough to put the pen to paper and just say, yeah, this happened to me. And just so in such a natural way that it felt like we were with you. It was amazing. I just have to say.
Brave, but to me, that's that's what a real memoir is. You know,
Yeah.
you are vulnerable and open and brave, and by being that way, you kind of that's the way to connect with a reader. That's a way for a reader to trust the voice and to
For sure.
care. I think
Well,
everybody has
it's
had obstacles and loss and betrayal and feelings of abandonment or losing their identity. I mean, all the things I wrote about, I think people on some level or degree have felt in some way. And that's what I wanted to connect with readers over. And a lot of people have said the stuff that I wrote about before and after the Go-Go's was much more impactful to them than reading about the time in the band. You know, good came out of it too. You know,
Mhm.
my mom had no rules or boundaries, which is difficult to find your footing as a kid. But I also took that into my ambition. Like, I didn't occur to me why I shouldn't be able to succeed. Why should it? There's no rules, there's no boundary. You know what I mean? I transferred a lot of the stuff that was hard to navigate as a kid, and I kind of transferred it into almost an asset or something that I could use as a tool, I should say.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a good lesson of the book. I think that's something that's a good message. You know, things happen, and you know they don't have to define you. They can become tools. You know, you learn and you figure out, okay, how can I use this for me, or
Yeah.
to help me,
Right.
even if it's
And
not conscious. You know, it's just a good default. I think. Well, congratulations on your podcast, you guys.
Oh, thank you. And
it
thanks
really does
for
mean a lot to us that you came on. It's really
My
awesome. Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you.
so good to see you. Thank you so
Really
much.
nice to talk to you both. Bye.
Valentine,
Bye.
so
Oh my gosh, that was so great. She's so sweet. She's so sweet.
I'm gonna apologize to all of our viewers right now. This is the first time I've sat in this area in the house, and I was fighting with the light a little bit. So be nice in the comments.
Now, at one point when you were talking, like, just back up. It was
But I
like,
was backing up, and then the light was still like, I felt like Phantom of the Opera.
So awesome. I'm telling everybody out there, if you haven't read this All I Ever Wanted book, go get it. It's so flipping good.
If you read her book, she is very thankful for everything that she has in her life, and really feels fortunate to be able to earn a living doing something that she loves.
Yeah.
And she worked really hard at it.
Yeah. She worked really hard at it, and throughout the book, there's a lot of magic there.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We had so much fun talking to Kathy Valentine.
All right. Well, join us next time on Up to Your Ears, and don't forget to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
All
right. Join us again. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Josie.
And it sounds good.
It does. Thank you so much.
I can tell you